Thank you so much, Quickshot. Indeed, we are here in the post-game lobby. I'm joined by the Fisho. Power of Evil is still here, as well as Vedius. You just came off casting that. We just talked to Vizicachi. He's also our player of the series for that one. And oh my gosh, there we go. I suggest...
I agree.
And you agree. I suggest that we look at some of that Camille work. And I want to talk to you a bit, because you hinted at her as a power pick. This is the first time that we saw her. Talk me through.
Great prediction.
Yeah, in my video, I might have highlighted her as a pick to watch, and I hope you're watching, because this is why you should ban her every single game. She has really good dueling power. I was a little bit confused as to this play as to why Cabo didn't commit to the 1-for-1 in that scenario. Even though he was outplayed, I feel like he could have maybe gotten away with something, but regardless, that's really where the snowball started to happen for Camille. And after that single kill, that's all you really needed. He got that Trinity Force power spike that we love to talk about, and it really just ran away with the game.
Yeah, definitely did. Aside from that, though, the picks and bans in general, we saw... I heard you guys talking to each other about the pick and ban phase out, and you were saying to Fisho how you liked the pick and ban from Vitality a lot more, and Power, you were echoing that at the beginning. They had kind of the same tools that they did in Game 1. They just had to pull the trigger early.
Well, so what people like is going Shen against Camille, because you have like the more global pressure, you can ult towards bot lane. I think Shen actually wins early game against Camille as well. So it's a fine matchup, but since they banned it away, there was only Fiora left, and I actually think that Fiora would have worked out as well, since he was equal in the laning phase, he was doing good, he was getting good trades, because it's a skill matchup in the early game, but then he overstepped, and I think he just threw the game away, since Vitality team comp was all around bot lane again, and I think they completely changed up their playstyle from Game 1 to Game 2. They found these picks on bot lane, they actually made the Talia roams happen with the Olaf this game. So I think they played really, really good around bot side and got these kills. And I think Fiora should have just played safe and let Vitality on bot lane do the thing.
Yeah, I think I would have loved to see the pick and ban phase was in that last pick on the first phase where they picked Olaf, which I don't really think they had to do. We picked the Shen there instead. Because as you just highlighted, the plan was camp bot lane. Yes, Fiora could have worked top lane, but it didn't fit the actual comp, because they got so many kills. I think Hylissang was 0-7, something towards the end, and Samus was like 0-3 after laning phase, because they kept doing this over and over. Obviously also because there was no casting with TP to stop Talia from just going bot lane over and over.
And because after the first game, we were ramping a bit about the Talia not roaming enough, and you found that was a huge improvement for Nukeduck for this game.
Yeah, so he always pushed the lane out, he always got the first roams. It was really smart that when Exile was kind of pressuring bot lane or looking for the first roam, that they didn't make a play happen and they just played safe. So I think that was just a huge improvement, not only from Nukeduck but from Jocko as well, because he played around the side where they needed to play from, and I think they just played really good as a four-man.
Yeah, they did, and it is a very unfortunate start from the side of Vitality. We heard they were talking to Sheepy, but a very good start for the Unicorns of Love. And Vizicachi had said it in the trailer, we're aiming for #1, and they have a fantastic start.
I mean, it's definitely a good start for the Unicorns of Love, but a lot of big question marks for Vitality as well, because I feel that they were in firm control of that game. They even had a phenomenal mid-game fight. They moved up to Baron. I think they ended up losing a member.
And then died.
And then they just died
really
to
weird,
Baron. There were promising aspects in Game 2 from Vitality. This is a great illustration of that, like what we saw from the Talia cutting off, the collapse coming out from the Unicorns, actually ended up winning them this fight overall, which demonstrate that Vitality definitely have at least the mechanics, at least a lot of potential, but just a lot of questionable decision-making as well. So, more question marks.
I think Talia played here really good as well. Zoned to Orianna from the fight and came first. She ended up dying third, but I think it was winning them the fight. And actually, Kabashat got a triple kill here from this fight and kind of came back into the game. But I think it was too late, since Camille was really, really strong, 2 levels ahead or something. So.
And 60 CS.
Yeah, 60 CS as well, so it was really, really hard for Fiora to do anything anymore. And what he just highlighted with the Baron play, I think Vitality could have maybe gotten this Baron, but I think the camera didn't even show what happened.
So basically, Hachani died trading his life for Exile, so they walked into Baron without his help as well, and Joker was tanking it for the entire time, while Kabashat was trying to defend Inhib versus Chachi. So Joker was just kind of alone in there. I think actually we might have... actually, this is not the replay, it's just after Unicorns have already...
But the weird thing was, like, I think that Joker was alive, Steelback, and Talia. So
And Talia, yes.
But,
yes.
but when Joko died, actually Talia and Steelbeck were both full life, so I think that was really questionable Baron.
Yeah, because the camera said it didn't show it because we were watching
Yeah.
the 1v1 near the inhib, so we didn't
Yeah.
actually get to see a whole lot. Suddenly Joko was just dead, and that meant the Baron you just saw in this replay
Yeah.
super quickly, Joko was dead while that actually was started, and obviously there was nothing Vitality
Yes.
could do on. To add on to the questionable plays, they actually decided to walk in 4 members with no smite. They didn't want to fight, they just stayed there, and then 2 of them died, and they lost like 2 inhibs. So
They should have just gave up the Baron
give it
and
up.
look to make a cross-map play, maybe get a Dragon, maybe get a turret, but this Baron was gone 100%.
But that's kind of the Vitality from last year. Again, we're like, oh, great play. Oh, this is pretty interesting. Oh, this play is doing well. And weird call, mistake, and the game is over. 'Cause it happened over and over. It's why they obviously didn't make playoffs in the summer split, changed players, some of the players.
Where are they in your tier list?
They are currently Misfits tier, which is C tier.
C tier.
So we have A, B, C,
I'm looking at it. So,
E, D.
yeah. Well, we'll talk a bit more about your tier list in a bit, and of course, we just want to prove you wrong. No, just
Actually,
kidding.
so far,
It's a
it's
source
pretty
for
spot on.
discussion.
It's pretty spot on at the moment.
Pretty spot on. Well, let's start then by your Misfits. Your Misfits tier, they took on Giants.
Hey, I think that's very fair. I think you guys have a lot of potential, but there are still some things we need answered. And you guys 2-1 against Giants, that little throw in game 1 wasn't exactly the greatest. And I think that's something that happens for new teams, and it's perfectly understandable.
Yeah, I think we just need some more time to get used to the stage and play as a team. I think we got every game these early leads, but
Yes.
I think we just didn't have the right synergy in all the fights yet, and I think if we can improve on this, I think we're going to be at least a middle pack team.
And something that you were talking about earlier on, Paraviva, was for someone like Hansama, for someone like Alfari, this is their first time on the LCS stage. Like, nerves can be a bit of an issue, and we saw that in some of the plays today.
Yeah, and the mistake we did see in game 1 is something we've seen from almost every single LCS team before. They have the advantage, they need to start setting up around Baron and push in division, and it slips a little bit, they don't get the pick they were looking for, and then kind of panic start the Baron. We've seen it time and time again, and teams have always been able to fix it and got much better during the split. So that is really, again, why you guys come in as a team with potential,
Yeah.
but you're not like a top team yet.
Yeah, I like that you say the fact that we obviously see that from a lot of teams that have just joined the LCS, but it sometimes takes them 1 or 2 splits to make up for those things that they do every single game. And here, from game 1 to game 2 to game 3, Misfits just completely turned it around and did not make the same mistakes again. So that at least colors me more hopeful than I would have some other teams in the past who kept doing those Baron baits and failing, who kept making those decisions.
And for me, it's actually Ignar that I'm really excited to see, because I felt like that even if in his debut performance on the LCS stage, I mean, Paravival's just a consistent, solid performer, but Ignar's the guy that for me was just so good throughout this series. He was just always in the right place at the right time. Something that Paravival was saying during the Vitality game was, he was like, Hachani's doing really well, very similar to what Ignar's doing. Just he was always focusing the right targets, he was always in the right place at the right time, and I just think that he has so much potential for such a young support that he's a very exciting prospect.
Did you have another choice for player of the series?
In the Misfits game or in this one? No, I actually think Paravival, you had some really good moves, but I think Ignar was the deserved MVP of that one. Mainly in game 2 when he turned it on Malzahar, and I think him just like kind of forcing play, setting up that Baron as well, was really important.
I was saying as well. I think game 1 it was like I think everyone did I think the same, but I think second game he picked it up with Maza and got us a lot of catches, a lot of roams, and third game Tarek, I think it was just a really good pick decision from him. He decided to go for Tarek just for team fights, since we had the Maokai, we had the Sintra.
So was
really
it up to him to choose a Tarek? Do you kind of have decision power in the picks and bans?
Yeah, like normally we discuss our picks and bans beforehand, obviously, but we adapted throughout the series. So we banned Ilaoi. We decided to not pick Sintra that early anymore, and we normally discuss with the coach as well. So the coach is giving us some options, and I think it's really good, since you can kind of pick what you feel most comfortable with, and I think that's important as well. So the player feels the most comfortable in his pick.
Yeah, it's a democracy until you mess up. Then
until you mess up, then the coach will decide everything from there. But you must also be pretty happy with your group. Like I looked at Group A and I felt like, okay, G2 is like the clear cut number 1 from what we expect, at least coming into the split. And then Fnatic and Misfits are 2 teams where we're like, okay, there's actually a lot of things we like about these lineups and they can really become good teams. And then Giants and Rocket were big question marks. So I feel like you already beating Giants today, despite, okay, making that mistake in game 1, you were clearly the best team in the next 2 games. that also must give you guys a lot of confidence in just making playoffs because you're kind of fighting the teams underneath you in Rocket and Giants to just keep them away.
Well, since it was our first series and we just started, it's hard to say how we're going to do, but I think we have a lot of work to do, but I think we are going to aim for this first and second spot. But right now I would still give it to Game as Draw.
Okay, good. And with that, we're going to take a look at your tier list. Oh, yours and Crepo's tier list.
Yeah, let's give Crepo
see
some
where it is
credit
so
here
far.
as well.
Definitely.
His face
So
is
we
up
said
there.
already, Misfits tier, they're in there with Vitality, and then OG and Giants back in E tier. Is there anything you'd want to change straight off the bat if this was week 6 and these results continued? Is there anything you'd want to change?
I think
Do you want to change anything in the future?
anything I would change. What are you hinting at here? Oh, you want to move my Vitality to B? Is that?
I'm not too sure about that.
I think for now it's fair enough. I mean, there's a big question about Rocket. We obviously haven't seen them yet. They're playing tomorrow. If they actually are better than Origin and Giants, I think there's a high chance these teams are actually very close to each other. But I think with Misfits and Vitality kind of stand by the position at the moment where we like the roster's potential is definitely there, but they got to show, they got to improve to become one of the top teams.
And for me, it feels that right now Misfits are at like a C+, making their way towards that B roster, but after a couple more series,
That's fair,
then we
that's fair.
could very well see them moving into that. Whereas I think that Vitality are the ones on the C-, making their way down.
They
especially
play a
after
much
today's-
harder opponent today
They
than
certainly
Unicorns.
did. They certainly did. That is very true, and we have to factor that in. But overall, I also think that, as you mentioned earlier, A is a little bit more cut and dry as to who we think is top and bottom. So I'm looking forward to seeing how these teams progress. But I agree with the Fisher. I
It's
think
pretty
this is
bang on
fairly
the money
fair.
so far.
I think there's a chance Splice maybe coming into the split might not sit like a tier above like Fnatic and Unicorns and these guys.
Do you have any inside power?
I think there's a high chance they're probably around the same level.
So from our scrim experience, I actually think Splice is probably one of the best teams.
Well, perfect.
I would
Keep them a name.
I would actually rate them the same as Game as Draw, or a little bit above them, since I think they just play overall as a team like insanely good, and they never throw the game in scrims, and they just always keep the lead, which you can see like other teams. They always make like this one mistake, someone gets caught, you can get a comeback. But I think Splice never really does it, so I think Splice is probably one of the best teams.
Always been smart. We have to remember this is just the first few games in week 1.
Yeah.
You know, everything can still change. But so far, feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, the tier list looking pretty good. And then, well, you said Gamers 2. I just so Ocelot wouldn't be
Ocelot
honest.
is actually dying right
Esports, G2 Esports, Misfits, H2K, and Unicorns of Love. The winners so far in week 1. Take a look at the standings. It is quite the same as the tier list, I think. G2 is there at the top with a series win, as well as H2K with a series win, Misfits as well, and in the end, joined by the Unicorns of Love in the standings.
We are
Just
the
imagine.
standings
We are the
right now.
standings.
I'm G2, this is Misfits, Fnatic down there.
Yeah.
This is Group A so far.
So we are first place, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you're tied with me for first.
I would like to see the standings, though, actually.
I think we should just talk about something else.
Yeah, well, apparently the standings are bugging for a second, but those are the teams that have won so far. A lot to be expected. H2K won, but not super convincing. Is that fair to say, or?
Well, I think there's still a couple more questions left to be had, and I'm really excited for tomorrow's games in particular because we finally see Splice and we get to see Rocket. And I know that G2 and H2K also make a return, so I think that both teams should have fairly challenging games ahead of them. But I think we should have a pretty exciting day tomorrow.
Yep, I would love to take a look at the schedule as well for tomorrow because we have 2 more best of 3s coming your way, as Vedio is already teased at. We have G2 taking on Rocket and Splice versus H2K. And if there was ever a chance to see what Splice is made of, that's going to be the matchup power.
Well, I'm really excited about Splice versus HUK, since I think both are really, really good teams. And just from the experience, or from what I said before, I would give it to Splice in a 2-1, but I think it's going to be a really, really close game, or a close series. So I think Splice needs to like kind of show what they can do on LCS stage as well.
Yeah, and I feel like also H2K needs to show that what they showed yesterday is not the actual level right now for the team, but at the same time, it's really hard to kind of criticize a week 1 performance because they obviously made quite a lot of changes, complete new bot lane.
It's your
Featherman in
job.
there. It is our job, but at the same time, it's also our job to kind of say, calm down,
Calm down,
everyone.
guys.
It's week 1, you know. Stuff can happen. You might lose your first
Baby
game.
Faker.
Baby Faker is already in the house. We kind of killed that one yesterday, so that was pretty bad.
Yeah, anyway, tonight at midnight, Central European summertime. No, it's not summer time, it's winter. That is actually in 2 hours. The NALCS will be kicking off at 3 p.m. Pacific. TSM versus Cloud9 and Echo Fox versus Phoenix One. The fish show, that's 2 hours away. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Ooh, I mean, I feel like no.
Aren't you more excited to watch more EU mids play against each other?
I always love watching EU Danish mid laners as well. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah, to be honest, a super hype matchup for them to start everything off.
All right, it's a perfect game to start. You know, two of the best teams last year. No changes. Well, one change per team that can be very impactful. I think most people, obviously, with Wild Turtle want to see what he can do. But then also new jungler for Cloud9 is going to be pretty hype.
So do you guys want to do
who's the new Cloud9 jungler again?
Contracts.
Contracts.
Oh, contracts. Oh, yeah.
with the hip Z at the end? Do you guys want to give a quick prediction for that TSM Cloud9 game coming up?
This is based off absolutely nothing.
Where's your NA prep, Betty?
But because I like Cloud9, I'll say 2-1 Cloud9.
Ooh.
Power.
I have absolutely no clue.
I agree with this.
You gotta save face, man. The fish show.
2-1 TSM.
T1
yeah,
TSM.
I would
Power.
probably just go with TSM. TSM, you know.
Always a pretty safe bet.
TSM
Well,
chance, you know.
All right. Well, we will see what happens at a time for us to log off here in Europe. For now, thank you guys very much and join us tomorrow at 5 p.m. Actually, I think it might be 4 p.m. That is 8 p.m. That would be then 7 p.m. a.m. Pacific as we conclude week 1 of the UOL LCS Spring Sprint. Have a great night.
Great outro.
Goodbye.